Just a fast video. I'm going to play a little excerpt from a radio program I was listening to this morning while I was getting some other projects done. And there is a little piece of it that I'm going to put in here. There'll be a link to the full program in the information bar at the bottom of the video. And if you have time, I wish you'd listen. I didn't like the first part of the program, but I thought this particular part was something that a lot of people might profit from listening to, or thinking about it a little bit at least. Anyway, whether you agree with this conclusion or not, it's, I think, pretty interesting thinking.
But then think about 9/11. Understanding the basis for our deep beliefs. This isn't merely a theoretical exercise. It's very relevant to some of the most important of contemporary issues.
No suicide bomber dies just for his own personal benefit and beliefs. They die for their friends, for one another. And what gives jihadis the ability to outlast far stronger adversaries is their commitment to a cause.
Scott Atrans is an American anthropologist who has studied the human religious instinct and has also studied jihadists and suicide bombers.
I don't think there's anything like a religious module in the brain, and I don't think religion per se is a biological adaptation. In fact, it makes no biological sense. I mean, consider another animal that took sickness for health or death for life, and such an animal would not long survive. Evolutionists endowed us with all sorts of mechanisms for navigating our evolutionary world, and we just naturally fall into some peculiar sort of peripheral uses of these ordinary means that come together in strange ways, in the ways we call religion.
Tell me about the recent study you've been doing with Iranians.
It sort of replicates a study we did with Palestinians and Israelis. What we found was that among a minority segment of the population, in this case about 11%, who are highly religious and politically fairly close to the regime, acquiring a nuclear capability has acquired something of a sacred value. Now, what does that mean? Well, sacred values sort of turn cost-benefit logic on its head. That means that when you offer something, a material incentive, say money, to get people to give up something sacred, then they consider it an insult, a disrespect, an attack on their dignity and identity, and that strategy tends to backfire. And we're finding this the case with that group of Iranians. And we found this to be the case with Palestinians and Israelis. For example, I just finished a study where I was in Damascus with the leaders of the Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And we also did studies in the Knesset, including the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister. When we asked them about possible trade-offs for peace. And we found that if we offered material incentives from one side or the other to give up something sacred, for example, what they considered to be the land of Israel or Jerusalem, or the right of return of Palestinian refugees, or the right for any Jew to come to Israel, then they not only became angry, and they became actually more disposed to violence. For example, in the Palestinian case, more disposed to support suicide bombing, which already has extremely high levels in the population. But when we offered a symbolic concession from the other side, or a symbolic gesture, for example, the other side, the Israelis, for example, just apologize, show respect for what happened to the refugees, that is, say something of no material consequence that addresses the sacred values of the others, then support for violence, even among the most diehard leaders of the Hamas and the PIJ, declined dramatically. Same on the Israeli side. If the Palestinians made a symbolic gesture, for example, simply say, okay, we recognize the suffering of the Jewish people and why they came here, and we respect that. That's enough to get Israeli leaders, even the current Israeli leader, to contemplate the possibility of permanent peace with Palestinians along the 1967 borders.
Are you saying that societies may or may not have religious belief, but sure as hell, if you look hard enough, you'll find out that they have strong sacred beliefs, or there are those amongst them who have strong sacred beliefs. So religion really isn't the issue, it's this inherent propensity for the sacred.
Yes, I think you're right there.
As I said, you may or may not agree with that very brief excerpt, but if you listened, I'm really grateful. If you disagree, tell me why. And if you agree, talk about that. no, you don't have to be religious to realize that other people have feelings that you have to acknowledge in order to work out a viable communication with them. At least that's my humble opinion on this. Anyway, check the links in the sidebar. If you've listened, I really appreciate it, and have a great day. Bye-bye.